Hey, this is Tim, and I am here to talk about a few of the things that have been going on with my bamboo farming. Of course, you might know that I'm diversifying myself from just being a computer guy and a photographer to farming bamboo. And it's been a long process, about 1.5 years of studying and figuring out what I needed to do. There have been definitely a few people along the way that have helped me out a lot. So let me go through some of the more recent things that have happened. Today is Friday, that is September the 9th, and I am going to close today at 10 o'clock on 30 acres of land. And it's been a process of studying what I needed to get the land, where I needed to be, the type of soil, the grade of it, location, all these things. But finally I settled on one that looked pretty stinking good. And I closed today on it. Now, the land is about $3,000 an acre, so it's about $95,000 for the land itself, which might sound like a lot, but that's incredibly cheap. $3,000 per acre is really, really cheap. And somebody asked me, well, how much is it to get some land up here, because I'm in Atlanta? And I said, look at $20,000 an acre, or some places are $100,000 an acre. It just depends on where it is. So 3,000 acres is really good, especially for a nice big plot that's relatively flat and doesn't have anything wrong with it right now. I am funding that in two different ways. The first one is I'm borrowing my own money from a 401k, and that's for $50,000. $50,000 of it comes from a 401k. That is already my pre-taxed money. So I have to pay that back in 5 years with interest, but that interest goes back into my 401k. So basically I lose nothing by borrowing against the money that I already have pre-taxed. I just have to make sure I pay it back in 5 years. And that's all automated, so I don't have to really think about it. It just comes out of my bank account normally. The other one is with a home equity line of credit. That is, in the house that I live in, there's a certain amount of equity in the house, which means that I bought it for $200,000, it's worth $400,000, so I have $200,000 of equity in the house. Well, I can borrow against that, and that does have an APR. I think it's about 4% APR because we're in a difficult financial time right now. So I do have to pay that back with a percent interest, and that's the first one that I'll pay back more aggressively, because that one, I kind of lose a little bit of money. But it did not require me to take a home loan in order to buy this land to do that. So those are basically the two ways that I'm going to fund the purchase this today. I've actually already sent over the money, so that's been done. I have 5 years to get it done. The other one that's interesting is the bulldozer. Because I have such a big piece of land to clear, I ended up buying a $3,000 bulldozer, and it's an older one. So don't get me wrong, this is not a gigantic Case or Caterpillar bulldozer. This is a relatively small one. And $3,000 gets you 30 horsepower on a 1951 Oliver crawler. So it is fun to drive, and when I looked at all the different things that you can do on this, it is easy to maintain. One of the things I will mention is that olivercrawlers.com is a really helpful dude up in, I think, New York. And he's got all the parts for it, and he's got a Facebook and a website and an eBay where he'll sell you whatever parts you need, and he'll kind of walk you through it. So I haven't picked up the crawler yet, but I will be picking it up probably Sunday, so just a few days from now. The last one is that I have a schedule change. I had anticipated getting out there with the crawler and clearing land as aggressively as I can, getting power installed from Flint EMC, and then getting a well and getting piping and everything, so that I'm really ready by, let's say, January. But somebody suggested that I look for government grants, and it turns out that the USDA actually has a lot of grants through something called EQIP. EQIP is the program through the government for giving grants to farmers, and it's not just first-time farmers. The EQIP program I have to apply for it, but the EQIP program, once I apply, it'll take a few months, but it could be my March of next year that I get 70 to 90%, or 70 to 95% of the cost of the cost of these things. drilling the well itself, the pump for the well, the house that goes around the pump, the switching equipment, the pipes that go underground, and even the fertilizer that I have to do, which is 2 tons of lime that I need to put out. That's a lot. That could be $15,000 or $25,000 that could get covered by the EQIP program through the USDA. When I talked to the man on the phone, his name was Byron Knox, and he was really helpful. And he started asking me some questions. Why are you farming bamboo? And I said, why bamboo? Because we import $1 billion or more of bamboo from China each year. And bamboo soaks up an incredible amount of greenhouse gases, and it's easy to grow. And he says, well, are you sure that it'll grow in this area? I said, yes, I am. Well, you need to do a soil sample. I already did. He says, well, you need to think about the land and the hardiness of the temperature. I said, I already did. I'm good for it. So he was really impressed that I had already come up with a lot of the things. Again, pointing back to some of the help that I got from Chris Flanagan with planning out and determining where I needed to be and what I needed to do. So I'm at a little bit of a change, at least for the schedule. However, it's not going to affect me in a negative way. It's a good thing. I'll have more time to get out there and clear the land. Remember, 30 acres is huge. It's, to most of us, unfathomable amount of space. I walked it one time, and I will make my way out there to do it again. But when you walk it, you can't see from one end to the other. And it's really, my land is long and narrow. But you can't see from one end to the other. It's a long, stinking way. It's about a mile, actually, on the longest side. But it was replanted maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago with pine. So the pine is about shoulder high. One of the things that Chris Flanagan suggested that I do is that I get out there with the bulldozer and clear it relatively soon. The reason is, if I don't clear it, those pine have a propensity to make stronger roots, which makes it more difficult for me in the future. So I'm going to spend the next couple months going out there and seeing how far I can get for getting a road around my land at the border, and then also scooping things to the center where I can burn it. Burning is allowed. So I will burn what I can, and then I will spread everything else back out, and then I will use a harrow. I'll talk about some of the other tools that I use with the bulldozer and cultivating the land later on, once I actually get out there and know how much I need to buy and things like that. Otherwise, wish me luck, because today I become a farmer. My next video will actually be me maybe holding the piece of paper that says I am a farmer now. All right? Talk to you later. Bye.